Welcome back to America's Retirement Headquarters, home of the Retirement Guys Formula and America's Medicare Associates with Nolan Baker, Scott Kirshner, Chaz Price. 419-794-3030 is the phone number. It's 419-794-3030. Online, arhq.com. Guys, the numbers are in about our 401ks, and, well, they're not good. According to Fidelity, the average 401k lost 20% of its value last year. And the number of 401k millionaires has dropped more than 30%. So you said that after age 59 and a half, we've got more options to put this money under our control and to protect it. So let's talk about that, because I'm sure a lot of people out there are probably interested in that right now.
Well, you know what? This is great. So, guys, I need you to help me understand this one here, right? I know, Chaz, you and I did an event together. Not an event, but we actually met with a client together, and you were talking about this. And the whole time I was sitting there, I'm looking with these eyes wide open, like, what the heck? I've never heard of this, okay? I am past, obviously, 59, and I was not aware of what this is and how it even works. So help the people out there that are listening understand this, because I didn't know, and I'm sure a lot of other people have no idea what this is, how it works.
Well, I think there are so many ages that you got to be careful and pay attention to that people don't know. I mean, the 59 and a half is the number that is the magical number that I think the government came up with, that decided that you're now old enough to decide what to do with your own money.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So you got to get to 59 and a half.
Right.
So the rest of us, we got a little bit
an
longer to
adult
do.
then.
Yeah. You're finally an adult.
I know,
Scott.
I'm an adult finally, yes.
So you have to check with your plan administrator. Not all plans work the same, but generally speaking, at 59 and a half, you have the ability where you could do an in-service rollover, and you could take your money and move it to a self-directed IRA. So again, there's pros and cons of, does that make sense to you or does it not? It's not one of those everybody should do this type scenarios. If you look at it, I think of an example, Scott, that you and I had worked with Joe and Ellen. And Joe and Ellen, they had come in. It was last year. It was in the last couple of months of the year. Joe was looking to retire at the age of 62. And so we had brought you in and we had the conversation a little bit about health insurance. The overwhelming lion's share of the money that he was going to get in retirement time was going to come from his Social Security and his 401k.
Right.
Now, that Social Security and 401k income is going to be fully countable when he goes and he applies under the Affordable Health Care Act and looks at, purchasing health care, because he had to buy health insurance from 62 to 65.
Right.
But what we were able to do is we were able to use that in-service rollover feature, take some of the money out of his 401k, and then we converted it over to a Roth IRA. Now, that money that he converted over to a Roth IRA, it was taxable income on the year that he did that. So he has to pay taxes on it, but keep in mind, with a tax-deferred 401k, you're going to have to pay taxes at some point in the future anyways. By doing that, though, and doing it the year before, after he retired in December 31st, the next year when he went to apply for affordable health care, we were able, working with you hand in hand, making those decisions under the affordable health care, able to show that his income was going to be significantly lower.
Right.
We were able to take enough money by doing that conversion and leave some money aside for an emergency that he can live off of the money he already paid taxes on, keeping his health insurance significantly lower. So it actually became what I would refer to as affordable health care, cutting his cost down quite a bit by being able to do that in-service withdrawal. Again, keep in mind that this is an option that's available for folks that are over 59 and a half if you have a 401k plan. It's good for a lot of reasons. I would say control, diversification, flexibility, lower fees, retirement income planning could be some of the pros. So one thing is there's no longer limited choices. Now, Chaz, I know you do a lot of 401k reviews and discussions with people too, and I think, it seems to me that a lot of investors don't feel that they have some good investment choices in their 401k. Doing the age-based in-service rollover does give them more flexibility in their choices, right?
I agree, yeah, and it gives you flexibility because you're able to, first of all, access those funds if you needed them for unexpected expenses, some medical expenses, some financial obligations, but also it's flexible from an investment standpoint in that 401ks to me are not very personal. It's not a personalized investment. You only get a few options generally, and the options are not chosen for you alone. They're chosen for a wide variety of individuals. So I use this analogy a lot because I think it makes sense that, when you're going, let's imagine you're going to the big Walmart superstore. It's thousands of, rows and aisles of things you can choose from, but you're limited to only going down aisles 6 and 7. And that's initially, literally what a 401k is that you have a limited selection of choices that you really didn't have a choice in picking. So flexibility, you've got a lot of options. We can use individual stocks. A lot of times they don't have anything principally protected. And to Chris's point earlier in this segment, a lot of 401k people that were approaching retirement, maybe within a year or two, that were doing the right things, that were, kind of following some general research you can get online that says as you age, you should start putting, more money in bonds and less money in stock to help prevent these big drops in the stock market right before you retire. Yet the average 401k was still down 20%. And I think that's just a reflection of, again, the limited choices that are available. Even the most conservative investor last year that had 100% of their money in bonds still lost money, lost probably 10 to 15%, because you don't have things like fixed products that are principally guaranteed. Annuities come to mind. There's a lot of other options, hedged strategies, fixed rates, that we just have so many tools in our tool belt. I don't think there's any comparison, really.
Yeah, and I'd say, the next area you look at is possibly lower fees. This could be a pro or a con. There are some investments that are out there that are higher fees, but what's happened is fees have become, more of a topic of conversation today, and there are ways to lower fees. So we have people that come in, with 401ks that I think have, these management fees. They have expenses for the funds and administrative costs. Some examples of products that could lower fees are like what you had talked about, some of the bank products that are out there. Mm-hmm. If somebody's looking for a FDIC-insured bank CD, they may not have those management mutual fund fees and expenses. Other things like fixed-rate annuities may not have fees and expenses. Sometimes people like to self-manage their own accounts. There's great companies that we work with, like Charles Schwab is a great example, that they currently don't charge for stock trades and ETFs. That could be another great way to look to help maintain controlling of the account. And as we do, oftentimes deal with people that are close to or in retirement time, the other advantage is for retirement income planning. So those 59 and a half could be in what is called that retirement red zone. They may not have the luxury of time to make up for those big major drops if this downturn continues, and now could be the perfect time to build out the independent income system. And again, that's our trademark philosophy here at America's Retirement Headquarters. If you haven't learned about that, I would encourage you to go on Google, just type in independent income system. There's a video where we're talking about where the threats and opportunities are right now in the marketplace. Now, in addition to that, if you're over 59 and a half and you want to find out, what are your choices and how you can take advantage of an age-based rollout if that's a choice for you. Again, I would give us a call. Again, there's pros and cons, so you want to look at some of the negatives. You might lose out on the ability to do what's called net unrealized appreciation. You could lose out on the ability to take a loan against your 401k. You could pay higher fees on some of the products that are out there. So it's not one of these one-size-fits-all strategies, but if you're in a situation and you're listening, and you're saying, I want to know what my options are so I can make an educated decision about what's best for my unique situation on a maybe customized approach, that's exactly where we need to talk and take a look at it.
Mm-hmm. So what I'm hearing is for an in-service withdrawal, you can actually take a portion of that 401k money out of the 401k, bring it to guys like you that will actually invest this in more diversified products possibly. And still, if you're still working, you can still contribute to that 401k that's in place, but you can take maybe the lion's share out and get a little more flexibility and handle on. And that's what I've heard you guys say. And to me, that sounds like a great opportunity and a great option to get more control over, and more say over what you have invested.
Yep. You still get the match and everything. So,
yep, sure. Future contributions continue to go into that plan.
And the important thing is, at the end of the day, having a plan that is custom suited for you. Those 401ks, as Chaz and Nolan talked about a second ago, they're meant to cover as many people as possible, which means that they're not really going to cover everyone or anyone particularly well. So as you get closer and closer to retirement, to that 59 and a half age range, these in-service distributions could be of great value to you to see how they work and to see what the right move is for you going forward. Schedule a time to speak with the team, 419-794-3030, or go to the website, which is arhq.com.